looked at your relationship and thought, why am I so anxious all the time? Why do I feel like I'm walking on eggshells? Why do I feel trapped even though no one else sees what's happening? Maybe he never punched you. Maybe he never left bruises. Maybe everyone around you says, but he seems like such a nice guy, and yet your body feels terrified. Today we are talking about coercive control, one of the most misunderstood and dangerous forms of domestic abuse, because abuse is not always loud. Sometimes abuse sounds like, who are you texting? Why were you gone so long? You're crazy. No one will believe you. You'll never win in court. If you leave, I'm taking the children. And women all over this country are finally realizing I wasn't crazy. I was being controlled. Welcome back to Live Free Legal. I'm Tiffany Lesnik, attorney, survivor, and founder of Live Free Legal, a legal education platform helping women navigate high conflict divorce, coercive control, and post-separation abuse. This webcast is legal education only and not legal advice. Laws vary by state, and if you need legal advice, please consult an attorney in your area. And if you are in immediate danger, please contact law enforcement or the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. So let's get started. So what is coercive control? Coercive control is a pattern of behavior designed to dominate, intimidate, isolate, and control another person. And here's the scary part. It often escalates long before physical violence. Sometimes there's never physical violence, but the victim still lives in fear. You live on pins and needles. Coercive control can include monitoring your whereabouts, controlling all of the money, isolating you from family and friends, humiliating you either in private or in public, threatening custody battles, controlling what you wear, constant criticism, gaslighting. Gaslighting is when he says, I didn't say that, I didn't do that, you never said that, I'm not angry, you're angry, right? Turning the narrative around on you, making you confused about what was said, what's happening, what was done. It could be digital surveillance, tracking you on your phone or your computer, your laptop. Threats of suicide, threats to ruin you financially, threats that you're going to ruin him financially if you pursue a legitimate legal avenue of protection for yourself, threatening your career or ministry, and using religion or the Bible to manipulate you or making you feel like you can never relax. The goal is power and control, not love, not partnership, but control for him. Many survivors don't even realize they're being abused because society taught them that abuse must leave bruises. But your nervous system knows the truth. Your body knows the truth. When I first left my abusive ex-husband, I was getting ready to put myself through law school. And I didn't know that I was going through domestic abuse. I knew something was wrong. I knew something didn't feel good, but I didn't know that there was a word or a definition for it. And I had no idea that I could file for protection. If you are in a coercively controlling relationship, there is help for you. Every state in the United States allows you to file for a protective order that will give you no contact with your abuser. He will not be allowed to have contact with you. If you feel like you need a restraining order or you need protection, please visit a local domestic violence organization near you or go to your local clerk of court at your local courthouse and ask them how you can file for a protective order so that you can get safe. If you constantly feel hypervigilant, afraid to upset him, are emotionally exhausted, right? What gets him riled up and excited just makes you feel deflated at the end of the day. You're unable to think clearly, you're afraid to leave, That is not healthy love. It is abuse. And abuse can be very, very intense and sometimes maybe feel like or look like what love should look like, but it's not. Again, it's about control. It's what he can do to you. So one of the most devastating effects of coercive control is psychological destabilization. This is why survivors many times feel crazy. Abusers often rewrite history, deny reality, minimize behavior, shift the blame. They blame you for everything, right? If you wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have had to do that, right? Or they provoke reactions and then record your response to make you look like the aggressor or make you look like the abusive one. This is why so many survivors say, I don't even recognize myself anymore. The longer you stay in an abusive relationship and the longer he twists your thinking, the harder it's going to be and the longer it's going to take for you to restabilize and get back to a normal way of thinking. I call it stinking thinking, what abusers do to our minds, right? You begin questioning your memory, your instincts, your emotions, your judgment, even your faith. And many women come into my office saying, I think I'm losing my mind. No. You may be surviving prolonged emotional and psychological abuse. When someone controls your environment long enough, your brain adapts to survival mode. That's why victims freeze, appease, shut down, return to the abuser, delay leaving, or struggle to explain the abuse clearly. Trauma impacts communication and it can be overwhelming. You end up repressing so much abuse. You repress your memories because it's a survival mechanism. It's a coping mechanism to help you live through the chaos and the disorder and the pure hell that you're living through every single day. Unfortunately, many family courts often misunderstand trauma responses. The calm abuser may appear reasonable, while the terrified victim appears overly emotional or reactive. That does not mean that she is lying. It just means she's traumatized, right? So one of the things that I do with Live Free Legal is I teach women going through abuse in the legal process how to tell their story with confidence and how to talk about their abuse and how to build abuse into the framework in ways that will help them in the legal context. Give them leverage, help them in custody cases, help them in alimony cases, potentially help them in property distribution and mediation and in court hearings. I help build up your confidence and your ability to tell your story, even if you're struggling through abuse. So if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you, check me out in the description below at livefreelegal.com. We have our legal coaching groups, which will be starting in June. So right around the corner. So let's talk about why leaving can be one of the most dangerous times for victims leaving a domestic abuse relationship or domestic violence relationship. One of the most dangerous times for a victim is separation. We know this because separation threatens the abuser's control. And when control is threatened, escalation often follows. This can look like stalking, repeated texting, blowing up your phone, showing up unexpectedly, filing endless court motions, financial retaliation, manipulating the children, false allegations, social media, community, church, or family smear campaigns, church manipulation, or threats of self-harm. Sometimes women tell me, he got worse after I left. Yes. Because abuse is about entitlement and control. And when the abuser realizes she's serious, she's gaining independence, she's exposing the truth, that can increase danger. And that is why safety planning matters, and that is why documentation matters. If you would like a copy of a free safety plan, I have one for you today as a free gift. It is in the description below. Please access that safety plan and get started planning how you're going to leave and get to freedom and get to safety today. This is why so many women need support systems legally, emotionally, spiritually, and practically. So, what can you do now? If this webcast resonates with you, please know you are not weak. In fact, victims and survivors are some of the strongest people I know, because what you have to live through, what you have to go through, makes you so resilient. You are not crazy and you are not alone. Here are a few practical things you can begin doing today. Number 1, document patterns, not just incidents, but patterns of his behavior. Write it down, keep a journal, keep it someplace safe. We think, there's no way I'm gonna forget that he did that, or there's no way I'm gonna forget that that happened. It was so bad, there's no way I could possibly forget that. You will, because he does so much of it that over time, it all just starts to blur together. And when you're asked about it in court or through an attorney, you just become like deer in the headlights, right? It all washes over you, and it's so hard to articulate and break down. So be documenting patterns. Number 2, build a safe support team, right? That can include an attorney, a therapist, a pastor, a trusted friend, family members, a DV advocate, or a neighbor. Anyone who you can really trust. Be very careful with friends or alliances that are closely connected with you both. Okay, so if you have a mutual friend, be very careful about what you're disclosing to that mutual friend, because that friend may be disclosing things to your abuser. So you do need to be careful about that. Number 3, stop trying to convince everyone. Some people will never understand coercive control because they only recognize visible violence. You don't have to convince everyone. You only have to believe it yourself and then choose to make a difference for your own life and the lives of your children. Number 4, protect your nervous system. Sleep, eat, and eat good food. Pray, go to counseling, and set boundaries. No, boundaries are really hard when you're in an abusive relationship because that can also escalate abuse. Set boundaries for yourself even. It might be that you need to go take a walk. You need to take a nap. You need to do something for you that's going to help restore your physical system and help give you some peace. Okay, 5, create a safety plan before leaving if possible, especially if threats exist, firearms are involved, stalking exists, or the abuse is escalating. If nobody has told you this lately, what you are experiencing matters. It matters to me, and it matters to so many other women out there. It's estimated that 1 in 3 women have been or will be victims of domestic abuse or sexual assault in their lifetime. And that number is probably underreported. God sees what happens behind closed doors. And even if others minimize it, that does not make it less real. You deserve safety, you deserve peace, you deserve freedom. If you need help understanding the legal side of separation, custody, or post-separation abuse, check out the links below for Live Free legal resources, educational intensives, and the Empower Her membership. Again, we're starting a legal intensive coaching group beginning in June. Check us out below at livefreelegal.com to join the waitlist now before it's too late to join. And if this video helped you, please like us, subscribe, and share it with another woman who may need to hear this message today. Because sometimes the most dangerous abuse is the abuse nobody else can see.